Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen review and reaction. Today, we've got chapter 269 entitled Examination. And to say the least, it is definitely it's definitely a follow-up jarring chapter to last week's jarring chapter. This chapter is full of dialogue, lots of yapping. Is the information important? Yes, definitely. This is a chapter of Gege filling in the remainder of the holes on the road there, and also giving us some new extra lore that may or may not have been like a dropped plot point for the future. Who knows? But let's get into it, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and go through the entire chapter here with pretty accurate translations here. So let's not waste any more time. So again, title's name is Examination. And the first page is basically a short little flashback of Mei Mei at a candy shop with some old woman, and we're gonna find out about what that's all about soon. But first things first, what we get is Yuta. We all thought we were gonna save him. We all thought, what's could possibly happen? What happened to Yuta? How are we gonna help him? Yuta's saved. Yuta's good. Yuta is literally just gonna live the rest of his life with the Kenjaku scars in his regular body. Yuta is literally home, safe and sound. Maki is very upset, but in all honesty, she should be pretty happy Yuta's still here. Megami's brain is a little bit fuzzy, so those are the after effects of Unlimited Void that everyone was talking about. He's not a vegetable. He's just, a little bit, little brain fuzzy for a little bit, huh? So, of course, we have page 3 with Yuji intervening and basically saying that he needs to apologize. Megami also wants to apologize as well. They're basically the ones responsible for all of this happening. But Kusakabe cuts them off and is literally like, honestly, if we can blame anyone, it's Gojo for not killing you, Yuji. Not for nothing. I was on the side of murdering you from the very beginning. So if it was up to me, this would have never happened at all. We never would have had to worry about Sukuna taking over anybody. So no hard feelings, guys. We're all coexisting now. We're all here. So let's just fucking deal with the consequences of what's happening. No one's mad at anyone, which, what, based Kusakabe. I definitely appreciate him doing that. Now, again, we get a little bit more explanation as to how Yuta actually got his original body back. Apparently, Rika kept using reverse curse technique on her own on Yuta's body the entire time, and as that was going on, once Kenjaku's curse technique faded, actually it turns out that Yuta was able to just return to his body. He was literally in like suspended animation, like that limbo portion of like, you ever see Get Out when he gets hypnotized? That's literally what Yuta was going through until he got brought back to his own body. Mei basically says, oh, sorry, I miscalculated. Kenjaku's curse thing was a little bit more complicated than I thought. You're fine. Which is just, whatever. Sure, Then so begins the Yuta roast party, which I think is insane that everyone just starts talking shit about Yuta. Todo basically admits that he helped Kenjaku kill Yuta because Maki is upset that she wasn't the one to kill Kenjaku. She thinks she would have probably done a better job. Which, yeah, she admits she should have been the one to ambush Kenjaku, but Higuruma mentions that they only had one Inumaki curse speech voice recorder, which is another planet they talk about. Why didn't we use the curse speech recorder earlier? You mean you've even seen people in the audience talk shit about this, right? Well, turns out that they felt that if the curse speech recorder was used too early, the overwhelming response from Sukuna more powerful version would have literally killed Inumaki in one go. And Higuruma, who is fucking alive, by the way. Higuruma is alive. He's alive. Thank God. The goat, he survived. We love it. We love him. We love him. We're happy that he's back. So basically, long story short, Higuruma enters the conversation and basically admits that, you know what, Yuta, if you were actually in the fight, Sukuna wouldn't have just played with me. Sukuna probably would have just killed me. He would have taken the fight a lot more seriously. The fact that we slowly ramped up the intensity of the fight along with Sukuna slowly weakening ensured that Sukuna stayed at just the right playful attitude to not immediately eliminate everyone in a second, which I guess, it does make sense. You could argue that's not the greatest writing, but again, that's not what we're here to do. We're here to recap, baby. Maki then points out LaRue and Miguel, who were trying to get away scot-free on the side of the, in the background of everyone talking. And she admits that things would have gone better if they just showed up from the very beginning and Yuta was able to convince them of that. And again, just another way to disparage Yuta and talk shit and act like it's all his fault. And Yuta's like, well, hold on, they said they wouldn't come. And Maki's like, you should have done a better job negotiating, which, honestly, pretty fair. Yuji confirms that the gauntlets he was wearing were definitely the gauntlets Yuta wore in Sendai Colony when he fought against Yoro. They were literally just put on Yuji to make sure that Yuji was able to hide his fingers from Sukuna, which I guess overall worked in the long run. Maki says that's not good enough, and Yuji literally could have just used gloves, which I don't know if that is true. Hikari also mentions that they used Rika to hide and wait. So when they were in the TV room, right? If anyone was wondering where that TV room was, apparently it was literally just a portable Rika tower that they sat in the sky above Gojo and Sukuna. Thank God a stray dismantle didn't fly and attack them, but yeah, literally just that's how they were so close. That's why they were able to respond so quickly to Sukuna after Gojo died. Yeah, insane. Then we kind of talk a little bit more, about Maki being upset that Yuta got hurt, and she died, as well as Maki being like, well, I'm not mad at Yuta. I took 2 black flashes, but he almost died, and she stops talking because she gets embarrassed. Toto also mentions that he's to blame. He didn't have the correct range to save everybody from the Sukuna Furnace domain expansion, which again, everyone kind of says, hey, look, it's not your fault. You can only control your Boogie Woogie so well. It's all about range. That's what matters. So Toto shouldn't feel bad. Miwa kind of mentions her regrets and saying she was nervous about helping Maki escape the domain expansion because all she was thinking about is what happens if Toto Boogie Woogies and Maki's not there with her, which is definitely true. Momo apologizes not for doing anything, but hey, she was better than Kamo. At least she showed up. I'll give her that always. Wee Wee claims to be the MVP of everything, and you know what? I'll give him that. I'll give Wee Wee MVP because Soul Swap, being able to teleport the corpses out, he saved Higuruma from death. That's enough for me. That is more than enough for me. Kirara's upset that Wee Wee didn't bring them along for everything, but you know what? It is what it is. Kirara, I feel like, could have been utilized more in the Sukuna fight, and they weren't, and that makes me a little upset because Kirara is one of my favorite characters. But what are you gonna do? Gege is just prancing along. Now, one thing that is super important, and we kind of focus on this for the last half of the chapter, is the lore we get behind the new shadow style, the simple domain, right? We've always heard about the simple domain having this secret, hidden binding vow that keeps people from the outside learning the simple domain. And it's interesting how all of our characters were able to learn it so quickly before the battle against Sukuna. How is that? Well, this was Mei Mei's contribution to everything. What did Mei Mei do besides throw some bird strikes around and broadcast it to the Gojo vs Sukuna fight to the entire world? Which again, we haven't seen the ramifications of, or, the military's invading Japan. Hopefully that's what these next 2 chapters are about, but I digress. Mei Mei admits that her life couldn't be exchanged for money. And when everyone asks what she means by that, Hikari specifically, thinking that she's talking about the new shadow style, it is correct. And basically, the rest of this is all a big lore dump on the new shadow style. So it's confirmed that the new shadow style was always, passed down through generations, but eventually it lost its public entity, and eventually became like a trade secret, monopolized by a few select people. So basically, a bunch of old, greedy, evil assholes were the only people left that knew the simple domain and said, hey, why don't we charge people money monthly for membership fees to learn the simple domain, and then also we'll give them insane binding vows that basically make them our are bitches, for lack of a better word. Like Kusa, like they get basically, you know, full control of these people. The Kusakabe and Meimei explain students of the new Shadow Style can't refuse a deployment order from the head, and there's also hassles too. It's also rumored that the new Shadow Style head can absorb the lifespan of new Shadow Style students, which means not only are they at this person's beck and call whenever they're called upon by them, they are also losing lifespan daily to this person so this person can stay alive longer. So the new Shadow Style is basically literally confirmed to be just a pyramid scheme. The Jujutsu Sorcerer version of a pyramid scheme, which is absolutely insane. Meimei admits that this is all made harder to deal with because no one knows who the head of the new Shadow Style is. It's all like a shadowy organization, and even if that shadow head dies, there's always a successor lying in wait for this person. So basically, long story short, they admit that they literally just converted Kusakabe into the new head of the new Shadow Style, which is definitely an interesting way to go about things. He doesn't know who the original head was, but Meimei was able to figure it out. And Meimei says, for payment of her figuring that out and making Kusakabe the new head, Wee gets to be the new head of the Shadow Style once Kusakabe dies, and then they can rake in all of the subscription services for the simple domain pyramid scheme, which is crazy. But the reason why they did this is that way Kusakabe, being the new head of the Shadow Style, was able to pass down simple domain to everyone involved without the crazy life-sapping binding vows, the return to my beck and call binding vows, all that added shit. They could just teach them the simple domain because Kusakabe deemed it that's what he wanted to do. And so that basically opens up the flashback to Meimei meeting up with that elderly person earlier in the very beginning of everything, who is basically confirmed to be the new Shadow Style head. And when they ask how much are they, how much does she want to pay for the simple domain, Meimei says, actually, I'm not here for simple domain. I'm here to kill you. And, this person's like, what do you mean? How did you find out I'm the head? What are you talking about? And Meimei replies, oh, I just asked someone who knew. She also adds in that the new Shadow Style in the background was building enough power to eventually rival the three great sorcerer clans, and then intended to just control everything from the background. So literally, this was a person that was literally doing what Kenjaku was planning to do, just in a completely different way, which is why I feel like this might have been like a scrapped plot point or another idea that Gege had for a story that he's just abandoning now that the story is over. Because this is this is a crazy plot thread that's kind of insane. And Meimei also says it's funny that it's ironic that there are people from their secret society that could have survived if they didn't do the stupid thing of monopolizing everything. Like, they could have actually saved their skins or potentially had someone to keep up, but now killing all of the old people and all the higher ups, there's no one left to take that mantle but Kusakabe. They kind of fucked themselves in the long run. Which kind of goes into the final page here. Oh, hold on. So Meimei talks about the head of the NSA. The NSS must have had a vision they wanted to see, even if it meant joining the lifespan of their disciples, a great ambition that couldn't be exchanged for money. Basically, yeah, they were trying to take over the entire world eventually with new Shadow Style simple domain. And then, yeah, with the final page, Meimei basically makes a big confirmation here, which is the Zenin clan is completely annihilated. Both the Kamo clan and Gojo family are going to fall after this battle because Kenjaku, again, was the head of the Kamo clan. All of the higher-ups were part of the Kamo clan. Gojo killed them. So with Kenjaku dead, the Kamo clan is done. Noritoshi Kamo already left the country, and he's not coming back. The Gojo clan was a one-man show, which means with Gojo dead, the Gojo clan has no political power either. Um, and yeah, Mei Mei says that, you know, more than all of that, you were stealing my brother's lifespan, so you had to die. Which makes sense. I know there's other translations out there that say people think that Mei Mei is admitting Gojo was her brother and she was actually a Gojo clan member all along, but I'm not sure about that. We'll have to wait for proper translation, but it seems like this is just, you know, her admitting that eventually she would have found the new Shadow Style head and killed him anyway because they were sapping the life of Wee Wee from her, and Wee Wee's her property, right? So long story short, a lot of people are confused as to why this plot point was so important, and I think the main reason why I would say it was important is because it basically fully establishes that, hey, everyone in this room right now is the remainder of Jujutsu Society. You know, Kusakabe as the head of the new Shadow Style, Megami as the last head of the Zenin clan. The Kamo clan is gone, so maybe Yuji, maybe Kamo Noritoshi can potentially come back. And the Gojo clan is done, unless, again, Mei Mei and Wee Wee are revealing themselves as Gojo clan members, and they're going to be the new ones. It seems to me that, yeah, this is the new higher-up council. They are the ones that are going to decide the future from here. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, everyone, sincerely. This is definitely another controversial chapter. People are saying it's sleepy. People are saying it's mid, but I think depending on how these next two chapters go, this could, in the long run, be a very well appreciated chapter. We definitely abandoned the saving Yuta plot thread pretty quickly, and I'm not quite sure what the next two chapters are going to hold, but hopefully we get an explanation as to what the hell is going on in the world and what this new Jujutsu Society is going to do with the world going forward. But I know I'll be here for it next week, guys. We got 2 chapters left of Jujutsu Kaisen. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, peace, peace. Ka-ching.